Thursday. I'm in my car. I'm actually not in the Toyota 4Runner like I normally am. So as you know, or as if you had watched last week was my official last day on the job for the summer season with Performing Arts Workshop. So I am not filming anything this week or whatever, but I am on a 1 week gap between the end of all of this job hullabaloo and the beginning of the new fall semester at Cal State Long Beach. So I'm winding down with school. I got about 2 semesters left right now, and this one's going to be very interesting. I'll go into that shortly, and also just because of the weird stuff that's been going on today. But anyway, if you're listening in and you're interested, Friday 8:45 p.m. is another hockey game. That's right, hockey, it's back. And hey, Susan. So yeah, 8:45 hockey is p.m. At Toyota Sports Center, so that's regular season. And then the following day in Simi Valley Isoplex, face off with Cancer, the 2018 Lori Romick Memorial Tournament in Simi Valley is going to be happening. Our team is slated to practice to play all day Saturday, so we'll be there from about 10 to 6, 10 to 7, whenever the last game ends, that kind of thing. So they should be entertaining. It should be a lot of fun. Surprisingly, we just found out that our fundraising is actually we are in first place currently in fundraising as a single team. So definitely you could use a few more donations to just keep that up. We've never done that before, and surprisingly we're up there, and it's pretty cool because I mean all the proceeds go to a worthy cause, and that is supporting families in Southern California who have to deal with the effects of cancer and all of that stuff. So definitely pretty cool. So yeah, Friday and Saturday are going to be packed, and Sunday means I'm probably going to end up hiding away in a Korean spa somewhere. So if anyone's interested in joining me at the Korean spa, then you let me know, and I will tell you exactly where I'll be. It's not something I normally publicize on Facebook, so it's not like I check into the Korean spa. It's like because people use their imaginations when they're on Facebook, and believe me, it's kind of freaky. So anyway, with that being said, I'm on the 105 right now. I'm heading to Yucaipa. I know nobody goes to Yucaipa for fun, and I ain't going for fun. This is actually a videography assignment that was assigned to me. It's since it's the fall semester's coming around, we're going into football season at the high schools, and so I am heading over there to film a freshman football game. Which is going to be interesting because I've actually never shot American football as a videographer, so this is going to be a new one. I do have reference footage, and I just need to watch it again before the game, but that's going to be quite interesting as well. So there's that. So I'm just kind of killing time on my way to Yucaipa. Currently, I'm on the 105. I'm looking at about another hour and a half of driving. I made sure I got extra compensation for this because, I mean, seriously, 85 miles away to film a football game? Like, you've got to be kidding me. There has to be someone closer, but I guess there isn't, which means that my position, or at least what I can do, is somewhat specialized. Speaking of specialization, that seems to be something that seems to be grinding my gears right now. So, and I haven't really spoken about this much, but this upcoming semester at Cal State Long Beach will be the first time that I'll be entering grad school without a full-time job. And so this is definitely going to be a different area of a different spectrum of things, because I'll be going in without, well, first off, I'll be going in without the pressure of a fixed schedule of a part-time job, a full-time job. But at the same time, though, I'm also going in with the pressure of, okay, I don't have a full-time job, so how am I going to compensate for all of that and get by? Now, fortunately for the latter, or at least that other issue, that's not too bad of a problem, especially because I've had to survive practically since mid-April without a full-time job, a completely stable full-time job. So this isn't something new, but at the same time, though, it is a bit inconvenient at times, and I just have to do my best and work with it. But at the same time that happens, I do have a little bit more latitude in regards to the way that my schedule is functioning, and that's okay. I mean, I have 2 classes and I have more time to study or actually find the time for me to do homework or whatever I need to do, and that's okay. And I'm just learning to live with that. But one of the things that really bothers me is that even though I am actively looking for another position, I'm really starting to get pretty jaded about school districts. And I'm just going to say this from my perspective. Obviously, this is my opinion and my opinion alone. And if you do share the opinion, that's great. But if you don't, I mean, like I said, I'm just saying this from my own personal experience. But so I had been interviewing at a school district, and I'm not going to mention which school district it is. But if you are curious which school district it is, you can go ahead and private message me, and I can tell you, offhand. But anyway, so I applied for the school district, and it turns out that one of my professors for one of the summer classes that I was teaching at, is a principal of the high school of one of these school district. And I'm going, okay. So I asked her. I said, hey, so there's this job opening for a technology support specialist opening up at your district. What do you know anything about it? And she's like, well, I really don't know too much about it, but I do know that our school is in demand of. We're going to be switching over to Chromebooks pretty soon, and we're going to be transitioning over to more mobile devices, and we're going to be doing all of these things that, like iPads and things like that. So these are things that I have very much a big background in, and something that I'm really good at, and this is something that I've done at least 2 other districts. This shouldn't be an issue, right? I'm thinking, okay, this tech position might, will probably have something to do with that. I'm thinking, okay, that'd be great. Now, mind you, too, is that I had applied back at the school district back in 2015, and I didn't even make it. I didn't even get called for the first stage, which was the written test, which was a multiple choice test. So, mind you, that I got to that point. So I applied for this position because I'm going, okay, what do I have to lose? So I get called back, and they're like, yeah, sure, we're going to let you in for the written exam. I said, oh, wow, I made it to the written exam. So I had to take the written exam, which for some of you who know was last Friday. So I took that, and I got my results the same day. And they said, oh, yeah, you passed qualifications. We'd like to invite you for the second round, which was actually today at 11:30. Now, mind you that the first part of the exam was a bit tricky, and I started going through the questions. This was a 40-question test that I had 45 minutes to complete. I completed it in about 25 because I did go back to check my answers and stuff. But I noticed something for this particular test, and then thinking about what my professor said about what they needed in the school, a lot of the stuff that I was being asked in this exam had everything to do with networking, sharing folders, a lot of like Windows protocol, things that in my line of IT are not things that I normally touch. These are things that are normally outsourced to other companies that specialize in computer networking. Because what happens is, one of the biggest trends that I've noticed, especially with school districts, is that anything that has to do with grunt work, i.e. networking, i.e. port assignments, anything that has to do with computer networking at all, has been outsourced to other companies. So usually the people who are IT in-house are people who deal with the internal problems of a school and what they see during the day, which is basically what I used to do. On-site tech support, issues with students, machines, things like that, and that was where my expertise normally lay in. So I'm going, okay, I mean, network stuff is not my strongest point, but I did well in that exam. Actually, it was like 40 questions. I got 33 out of 40 questions correct. So that allowed me to go to second round. I said, okay, that's great. So I will, and so I go into this exam today. Mind you, too, is that I also had something else happen right before that. Less than, 10 minutes before I had to leave, my garage door decides to fail. And so I have this cable hanging out that ended up coming off of its mooring and is not allowing my garage to close all the way. So now I've got this garage that's half open. It looks really stupid right now. And I had to call the property manager to get that fixed. And so I have that hanging over my head as I'm going to the district office, which fortunately was only like 3 minutes away from where my house is. So that's not the big deal. I mean, I made it in time. But it's not just that was hanging over my head, and by the way, that would have not affected the results of this test, which I'm about to mention, So I go in, I'm there early, so they allow me to take the test early. I said, okay, so they put me into this room, And I meet up with one of the current IT people that's there that's administering the test. He hands me the paper. He says, I need you to look through the instructions on all the tasks that you need to perform during this 20-minute test. Or I have 20 minutes to do this. I'm like, are you okay? I look, and I am shitting you not, everything on that test had everything to do with computer networking. I'm going, are you bloody kidding me? This is what you're testing for? You guys have no idea what the school actually needs, and that what the school actually needs has nothing to do with networking? Why does all of this have to do with networking and printers? This is basic setup stuff. You've got to be kidding me. So I look at it, and unfortunately with a 20-minute frame and knowing how fast I am in regards to these tests and my absolute overbearing knowledge of that particular topic, I knew I was not going to finish this test. So I look at this test and I go, you know what? If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail while dancing. So I decide to just take the test anyway. And I bomb graciously. I bomb like so awesome. Like I finished maybe 40% of the tasks they asked me to do within that 20-minute period. And to be honest with you, most of the stuff that they were asking me to do is stuff that most people cannot do in 20 minutes. So this is like absolute ridiculousness. And to make it even worse, and I mean, I said my piece at the beginning, right before this test started. I said, this job description and what you're asking me to do is probably the most vague thing I ever had to read before preparing for this exam. There was no leading like hints or any topic of, just to at least, focus myself on what I was supposed to be doing for this test. So it really just was super frustrating, and I mean, I did my best. I mean, I was proud of the fact that there were many things in there that I actually did know how to do. I did. But if you're asking me to do that and splice a cable, as in make a network cable with speed within 20 minutes, you have to be kidding me. So yeah, I bombed graciously. I kind of spy on the exam results, kind of like, because it was somebody who was observing what we were doing, and there were a couple people who completely aced it. Okay, fine. So networking is your thing. It isn't for me. But I will tell you this: most people that I've talked to who are pretty good at the networking thing probably can't do the same kind of stuff I can do, and vice versa. So if you're going to be funneling people for those specific sets of skills, even though the needs of the schools are even higher, or far more different from what you guys are trying to specialize in, it makes me wonder how bad of a disconnect you have between IT and teaching, IT and the teachers who need the technology that you're dishing out. So I will say this is probably the crux of my master's degree right now, is really trying to bridge the gap between what IT thinks that teachers need and what teachers actually do need, because that part is absolutely missing in most of the districts that I have been in. There is no connection between that. Teachers are expected to have an absolute expertise in the technology they're supposed to have, that they're supposed to be teaching their kids in, the stuff that gets thrown into their classroom and saying, here's some computers, use it. And I can assure you that most of these teachers are not absolute geniuses in computers. I know this for a fact. I've worked with them. Are they great teachers? Yeah, they are. They're good teachers. Many of them are very good teachers. But at the same time, though, if you're giving a teacher a tool that they don't know how to use at all, and then not giving them the amount of training and or professional development to get good enough so that they can integrate this stuff effectively in the classroom, instead of, we're just going to use this to write a paper in Google Docs, or we're just going to do a PowerPoint slide because the laptops just happen to be in front of us, then there's a problem. So my utter frustration is not from the fact that I didn't I'm not going to even make it to the last round of whatever the hell this testing thing is, because this is all personnel commission stuff. Whatever. At this point, I had a feeling going in that I was probably not meant for this job anyway. That's okay. Because I mean, I have an even farther different purpose. That's not where my frustration is coming from. But where my frustration is coming from is seeing that what the kind of personnel they're trying to bring in for IT only continues the disconnect between what the schools need and what IT thinks they have to do. And that's where my problem is. So yeah, with that being said, I'm just ranting right now, because it's kind of like, all right, do you guys even talk to the people that you serve? You know, I ask this question because I know that doesn't happen. But this is the kind of stuff that, because, you know, universities and, you know, we try to study these types of things so that, you know, we can hopefully someday put the research and theory into practice, which is probably not going to happen because we have a lot of, like, hard-headed school districts and stuff, and probably where my disdain comes from. But, you know what, I'm studying it with the hopes that maybe I can make a change someday. That's kind of where I am. So, with that being said, you know, I'm going to be just crawling my way to Ukaipa right now to continue doing what I normally do, which is videotaping on a Thursday at 3:15, which is when it starts, and I'm just, you know, it's 1:11 right now, so I've just got all this time to talk and you know, figure out what I need to do in my life so that it all makes sense. But you know, that's just kind of where I am, and it's frustrating because, you know, you're trying to better yourself and try to better whatever's around you, but at the same time, it seems like, you know, it's just a feeling that, like, the stuff that you want or the stuff that you idealize as being, you know, this would actually absolutely make sense, because I've seen the opposite happen so many times. It's just nothing's going to change at that point, especially if it's only one person wanting this, and everybody else is so used to just the normal sea of mediocrity. So that's kind of where we are at the moment, but that's kind of what I'm going to be thinking about as I'm sitting here in traffic like a, you know, schmuck by myself. You know, I will say this, though, all the Uber driving that I've been doing, and I've been very fortunate to say that nobody else has thrown a soda at me, but being, you know, driving Uber long enough has really given me a lot to think about when it comes to stuff like this. And I will say, it's just having this is the second, and I'm not, you know, not even kidding here, but this is the second practical IT tech support exam that I have actually bombed. You know, it's apparently, like, my skill set cannot be tested for some reason, or I don't know what the deal is, but for some reason, you know, what school IT departments look for apparently are things that I cannot offer. And then when the other stuff comes up, it's like, oh yeah, we'll train for that. It's like, okay, that's great, but what about the other stuff? It's like we all come in with a different set of skills, and, you know, there's too many good people that are getting rejected because they're not lacking, but more like they're not refined in a certain aspect of that skill set. It's like, but people are too lazy to train. They want people that can hit the ground running because that's how you save money and then still continue to pay everyone crap. That's just what happens. So, sorry to break it to you, but at the same time, I may be in IT, but apparently, you know, what I do is not necessarily needed or can be tested. So, at this point, you know, it's just really a matter of searching for the proper fit, and there's a part of me that's thinking that it's not going to be the school district. But anyway, with that being said, you know, I did my best, and that's all I can do, and, you know, people have requirements and things, but it would just be a lot nicer if this particular district was a bit more transparent as to the kind of stuff that was actually needed, because this test just seemed way too generic. And it doesn't help, and I'm just going to, you know, even go even further, is that even applying for this position was completely ironic and counterintuitive, because I had to do it completely on paper. No, I'm not shitting you. I had to apply for a school IT position on paper. Yeah, as in, here, please download this application form, print it out, and fill it out by hand for an IT position. I'm sorry, but that's just a bit counterintuitive. And then I was looking at the last time the procedures, or at least the application form for employment, was filled out, and I found out that that hadn't been updated in over 8 years. Which also then makes me wonder why I would want to work for this school district in the first place. Well, I mean, it's really close to my house. What am I supposed to do? Anyway, if you have any questions about this, or you're really curious about, you know, what other stuff is going on, you know, there isn't really much. I'm happy to say that both my motorcycles are working, and my garage does not. But, you know, that's just where we are. But yeah, I'm going to be on the road for a while, so if you'd like to chime in and say hi, you know, I take video chats. I'm totally good with that, because those are hands-free. Yeah, you know, that kind of thing. So, Be good. Don't get stuck in traffic too long. It really sucks. And sometimes it sucks the life out of you, as I am witnessing right now. So yeah, be good. Do your thing. And join me for Friday, 8:45 p.m. Toyota Sports Center. You know, I could definitely use a company or a hug or maybe a beer. Yes, I will talk to y'all later.